So everyone, before we start the game, I want to remind you that we are celebrating Black History Month here in Azle Rock. And why is that still showing the wrong... But it's... I'm gonna have to fix that. Anyway, you guys can check my my current Black History Month spotlight by typing February 23 in the chat. And when you do, you'll get a sense of what we're talking about today, which is African contributions to the video game industry. And I think, there you go, February 23rd, we're going to be talking today about Carry First, the Pan-African Gaming Group, and Malio Games. So there's some exciting developments in the African video game development scene. Some of these you may have heard about, but I think there are times where people just don't have any kind of visibility into the African gaming market. It's a huge market. If you look at the growth trajectory of the video game industry, a lot of it will be concentrated in markets in Africa and Southeast Asia and other places that most Western audiences don't really think that much about. So one of the areas people don't realize is the largest gaming platform is mobile. And so you'll find that mobile is a very large part of the African gaming market. There's a lot of video game development that goes on for mobile devices, but there is still a lot of activity for other platforms as well, consoles as well as PC. And there's a very large esports community in a lot of African markets. So today I wanted to share with you some recent news in that space. The first is the news that Carry First, which is a video game publisher and distributor based in South Africa, recently got investment from the Sony Innovation Fund. And this is for Sony to have better visibility into distributing games in that market. Now, one thing I have to say I've always had to criticize Sony for is that their focus on the African market is only in South Africa. So if you are looking to get a console or get a PlayStation account, you can only have it's all geo-locked, geo-based. So if you want to have an African account, it is only available in South Africa. I feel that's a huge missed opportunity for Sony, and I hope that with this investment from their Sony Innovation Fund, they will recognize the huge opportunity in some of the largest markets in Africa, of which Nigeria is one. Ethiopia is another one, a huge growing market. And so, Carry First can provide that visibility. So just looking at this article, this was at the end of January. Carry First is Africa's leading game puzzle publisher and digital commerce platform. And they've received a strategic investment by Sony Innovation Fund, the venture capital arm of Sony Group Corporation. And Carry First is the inaugural investment out of Sony Innovation Fund Africa, which was established by Sony as an initiative to support the growth of entertainment businesses in Africa. So this is great because it's not just focusing, Sony is an entertainment company first and foremost, and video games is only one area of that focus. So this can be really help Sony to compete with not just other gaming publishers and gaming companies, but things like Netflix and other entertainment providers. Driven by rapidly increasing technology adoption, Africa's gaming industry has over 200 million unique players and is set to reach a market size of over 1 billion in 2024, according to data from Newzoo and Carry First. While there is limited formal console presence, formal being the key word, Africa presents an incredible growth opportunity for this sector, particularly with the rise of live services. And I've come back to that statement that there's limited formal console presence again because of what I said earlier about the fact that if you want a Sony account, it has to be in Africa, it has to be a South African one. However, there are plenty of console users who have gotten around this by signing up for accounts based in Europe and North America. And the actual distribution of consoles happens, without the help of Sony. Drebin, welcome back to Asselrock. I hope you had a good week. We are chatting about the African video game sector. I've been doing these kind of spotlights when I've been streaming during Black History Month. You can check out the rest of the spotlights that I've done previously by typing !Feb and 13 or whatever the date is. I didn't stream since Sunday, I think it is. So there'll be a gap in there, but you can check out February 23, which is what we're talking about today. That's right, who to stream with. We are thrilled to join forces with Sony Innovation Fund Africa, said Cordell Robin Coker, CEO and founder of CarryFirst. The relationship will help CarryFirst to drive the future of gaming in Africa. At CarryFirst, we believe that the African console market is a massively underestimated opportunity. I keep saying it. Our distinct regional capabilities paired with Sony's expertise in gaming and entertainment creates a powerful combination. Together, we hope to bring the best games in the world to players across Africa. We are excited to welcome CarryFirst as our first investment in Africa, said Antonia Vitabile, Managing Director EMEA, Sony Ventures Corporation. We believe there's tremendous untapped potential for the gaming market in Africa, which we hope to experience and contribute to through our investment in CarryFirst. We look forward to working closely with CarryFirst's world-class management team to support the company's growth and explore potential business opportunities with Sony Group companies. So really happy to have that news that came out in January about investing in CarryFirst, a huge publisher and digital distributor in Africa. The next thing I want to share with you is, there's just so many opportunities to discuss video game studios and publishers based in Africa making content for African audiences and telling stories, with influence from African cultures. This was a really interesting story that came out a couple of years ago, actually exactly 2 years ago, about 10 gaming studios that came together to form a collective to grow the African gaming industry. So 10 game development studios in Africa have come together under one umbrella, the Pan-Africa Gaming Group, and the link is in the chat if you want to learn more about them if you scroll up, in an effort to unify the continent's gaming sector, which is currently fragmented. The association is further envisioned. Well, if they did, that studio would have been around for a lot longer than perhaps some of the Western studios would have been, remember? The association is further envisioned to drive the uptake of gaming in the continent and grow developer talent. The announcement was made today against the backdrop of the Africa Games Week 2022, which is taking place in Cape Town, South Africa. The PAGG said they aim to grow the industry by 2 times annually and to put Africa on the map of the global game industry. This is the type of news you don't get from, your everyday gaming journalism outlets. And so I think it's a really missed opportunity, a missed area of growth in the gaming industry, which really isn't reported on enough. The gaming studios in the new lobby are South Africa's Sea Monster, Senegal's K4 Games, Cameroon's Kiro Games, Ghana's Letty Arts, Tunisia's Digital Mania, Ethiopia's Kene Games, Kenya's Usiko Games, Tanzania's Kangaroo, Dope Apps from Rwanda, and Mesika Games, with more expected to join soon. Collectively, the current members have developed more than 50 games. So you can see that these companies are spread across the continent. Imagine if there were a gaming console made from vibranium. But yeah, there are, and this is 2 years ago, so there are other game companies that aren't mentioned here that were part of that initial 10 in the collective that are popping up every year. There are companies in Nigeria and lots of other places as well. The PAGG will bring together games developed by its members for publishing under Gara, an African game store, and Afrocomics, a content hub for Africa-centric creative work. These channels will enable content distribution and monetization by allowing locally relevant payment options, including mobile money and airtime billing. And I'll have you guys know that Africa is a pioneer in mobile money and mobile payments, which is again something that people are not aware of. But when you have scarcity and a dearth of access to physical banking, you have to become a lot more creative. And so that's why markets like Kenya and Tanzania and other places were using mobile money and mobile payments a lot longer than they have been using here in the US and Canada and UK and other Western markets. In fact, one of the things that hastened the use of mobile money is the fact that mobile phones are so ubiquitous in Africa due to the fact that there's not as reliable landlines in a lot of those markets. So coupling gaming with mobile payment is something that's been done in a lot of markets that are similar. It's done in Russia, it was done in China, and it's just served to accelerate the growth of video games in Africa through mobile. And that's another reason why, as I said before, the mobile platform is the largest largest gaming platform in the world, well ahead of PC and consoles. They also plan to increase the number of Africa's next-generation game developers through training and incubation, a function that has already taken off in Kenya at the Nairobi Game Development Center. And Kenya is essentially a huge innovation hub for investment, incubation, and entrepreneurship. So that's another reason why Kenya would, have this level of sophistication in terms of incubation and stuff like that. There's a lot of investment that goes on in Kenya. One of our core values is not just to build a collection of games, but to incubate Africa's gaming industry of tomorrow. There's a wealth of incredible talent already on the continent, with more graduating every year from top-tier games development schools like Rubika. Most graduates, though, are relegated to doing remote work for overseas clients due to the lack of gaming job opportunities. We're going to fix that, said Leti Arts CEO Aram Tawiya. The PAGG founders, you can see this photo here. The PAGG founders are hoping to grow the gaming industry in Africa by 2 times each year. This is awesome. The lobby will be governed by a founders council to be made up of top gaming entrepreneurs from the continent, joined by Peter Kihara, an ex-Goldman Sachs and PwC, who will serve as the group financial officer, and Jake Magnon, the BAFTA-nominated director and former game director at Aardman Animation in UK, as the group creative director. Each gaming studio will maintain its autonomy but will be involved in voting proposals or resolutions brought forth by the council. Dawit Abraham, the CEO of Kenya Games in Ethiopia, will be the PAGG's spokesperson. Gaming industry in Africa is set to grow exponentially due to a soaring interest amongst the youth, and as more people get connected to the internet. According to the 2021 GSMA Mobile Economy Report, 303 million people, or about 28% of the population in sub-Saharan Africa, that's just sub-Saharan Africa, are connected to mobile internet, a number that is set to grow to 474 million by 2025, creating an even bigger market for the gaming industry. The GSMA is a large aggregator of data and think tank around mobile adoption and mobile penetration globally. And so they're an authority on anything related to mobile related data. And as I was saying before, given the ubiquity of mobile phones in Africa, there's a huge opportunity here to reach a large gaming market. But not only that, here we are talking about mobile. So you're thinking that primarily the internet is related to mobile internet, but that's not the only area of growth in terms of internet in Africa. There is much more access to reliable broadband, and really, what needs to be caught up is the reliability of infrastructure. So for power grids and stuff like that. But there's still a large opportunity for the PC and console market as that becomes more reliable because of the availability of high-speed internet. South Africa has the highest saturation of gamers across Africa, with 24 million people, almost half of its population, playing, according to the Games Industry Africa report. Other major markets include Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and Ethiopia. In 2021, South Africa generated the most total annual gaming revenue at 290 million, followed by Nigeria at 185 million, Ghana at 42 million, and Kenya 38 million, and Ethiopia at 35 million. So again, I want to point out what was in the Carry First article, where they talked about formal console ownership. And again, a lot of these numbers are actually underreported because gaming revenue attributed to these countries is the formal revenue. There's a lot of informal revenue that is going outside of Africa through those accounts that were made, in the UK, US, and elsewhere. So hopefully, as more investment goes into the continent, a lot more of that revenue will be able to stay on the continent as well. The last story I want to share with you today is really exciting. You guys may have heard of the new Disney film Iwaju, which is going to be based on Nigerian lore, Nigerian, mythology. And I don't say Nigerian mythology as though there's one mythology in Nigeria. No, this is a specific mythology specific to one culture in Nigeria. And remember that there are over 500 languages spoken in Nigeria, so tons of cultures there. But this is the trailer for the new animated film called Iwaju, and there's going to be a video game made to accompany it. So I'm going to share this with you.
From Disney Animation and the groundbreaking storytellers of Kugali.
Happy birthday, Tola. This is Oti. You want stars for a pet?
It's great.
Comes a Disney Plus limited series.
What would you say if I asked you to go to the mainland?
Set in a futuristic Nigeria.
You want to see the real Lagos?
Yes, let's go.
Welcome to Lagos, Nigeria.
Tola, your daddy has done well for himself. This is how to fish in large rivers.
Oti, where's my daughter? She's your responsibility. Find her.
Be careful, oh. Some of these people are actually dangerous.
I laugh in the face of danger.
I didn't hear you laugh, oh.
Tola, I got you now.
Actually, kind of cute. I take that back.
Hello. No problem. I'm really glad that you caught that because I will definitely be watching that starting February 28th. Unfortunately, Disney Plus is not available in Nigeria, but I hope everybody who does have Disney Plus gets a chance to check out this series. The great thing about that is that this series will also be having an accompanying video game, which I wanted to share with you guys. Disney is teaming up with the African studio Malio Games on an Iwaju tie-in. And this is what we are all about, making African-inspired content. So you can see now there's been a huge proliferation of African stories told by African creators from perspectives of African culture. Nollywood has been around for a very long time. In fact, Nollywood distributors of Nollywood films were doing digital distribution and streaming way before Netflix got popular, and that has been consumed all across Africa. It's made its way to the West and into our homes, and you'll hear, for example, you'll hear Afrobeats in mainstream media and mainstream songs now. So I'm really excited to see that leap is happening in video games as well. So Nigerian-based game developer Malio Games is behind a new Disney game coming to mobile this month. The smartphone developer, which also employs staff in Cameroon, Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa, is creating the official tie-in to Disney's Iwaju, which is a new animated series launching on Disney Plus on February 28th. The animation is co-produced with Kugali Media and set in a futuristic Nigeria, while the game is called Disney Iwaju Rising Chef and is due to launch on the same day. It's a really great opportunity for us to build an Africa-focused gaming IP for one of the biggest brands in the world, Malio Games CEO and founder Hugo Obi tells GamesIndustry.biz. This is what we're all about, making African-inspired content, with designing games based on African characters, African stories, and sharing it with a global audience. The opportunity to build a game with Disney, it's something you pinch yourself about. We've never had the chance to work with a client like this before, and to work on an IP that is Disney's first African-focused animation series, it was a real honor. Disney was looking for a regional developer to create an Iwaju tie-in and invited a number of developers to pitch a game. After that, they were asked to build a prototype, and it was Malio that most impressed the entertainment giant. We are on the ground. We understand the market and the end users. We can relate and empathize with the story, Obi explains. It is our story and a story we know firsthand, and we had the opportunity to build a really beautiful and immersive experience based on that. He continues, it's huge for us. Disney is a household name. It's a form of validation, and it gives us a much broader reach than we can imagine to manage on our own. It's a huge honor. It's an honor to build an African story, working with African teams to do this and empowering the teams. Having an opportunity to work on a project like this pushes you to reach the levels you always aspire to reach. And working collaboratively with the Disney Games team and the Walt Disney Animation team, it raises the bar for us. So this is the mobile game that's going to be coming out alongside that show, Iwaju Rising Chef. It looks like I'm probably going to be having to take a look at this because you know me and my food. I love to cook, and I think this could be a really cool mobile game focused on cooking and stuff. And look at the guys, some chicken and some stew, and what looks like puff, fried rice, maybe some plantains and stuff like that. This is really cool. Disney Iwaju Rising Chef is a cooking title akin to Cooking Madness and Cooking Fever, but it's not all pizza and burgers. We do have some of that in our game, but we also have local food that you have to be Nigerian or have a Nigerian friend to appreciate, says Obi. For us, it is exciting to include some of our local delicacies and the preparation process behind them in our game. We are sharing these ingredients with the world. He continues, when we think about our culture, there are a few touch points that define who we are. Our language, our fashion, and our food are an integral part of who we are as a people. Yep. And we celebrate our food within our country, and it's a way to share who we are. We did have some other options, but we think this is a really good fit for the show. It's also Disney's first time working with a studio in Africa, so we wanted to pick a project that was achievable with the time we had, because the goal was always to release this alongside the show. Nigerian cinema, or Nollywood as it's sometimes called, has its own distinct identity, and Ovi hopes to develop games that have a distinct African style too. We want to define the African or the Nigerian gaming genre, he says. That could be a combination of our art style, our visual effects, our sound effects, our character development, our narrative developments, something that provides the end user with something slightly different. We have a really talented, dynamic team that works with us here who believes in this ethos. They are lovers of games and play games from all over the place, but they recognize that we can provide something that the end user hasn't experienced before, while maintaining what they expect from the game. We've taken huge inspiration from our movies and music, how they have been able to define a genre and be enjoyed all over the world. We feel we can achieve that with games. We will see how audiences will react with Disney's Iwaju. This is our first truly global release. We've worked on projects before, but we're talking games that have achieved 500,000 or 250,000 installs. But this is a game that will hopefully garner attention from global audiences, and we will learn a lot from how they will respond to it. So I can't wait to try this game out. This looks so cool. It's making me hungry right now already. Malio Games was formed in 2012, but struggled to find the talent needed to scale up. In 2021, it teamed up with Google to create a program designed to develop the talent pipeline in Africa. And some of the people who came through that program are part of the Rising Chef development team. This Disney partnership is what happens when opportunity meets preparation, Obi says. This wouldn't have happened if we weren't ready. it happened at a good time when we had already invested heavily in development talent. A lot of the guys in the team are first-time game developers, and a lot of the engineers on the state game came through our talent program. That's really magic for me. Disney Iwaju Rising Chef isn't the endpoint for Malio Games, Obi says. In fact, the team is already looking to its next challenge, building its own global IP with an African twist. We are transitioning to our next phase now, which is about building successful IPs. Will become foods, not just one, but several. I believe we have the people to do it. We've proven that, and it's now just about what we want to build. And we're not just building for an African market, but for the world. And this isn't just about success for us, but also putting Africa on the global games industry map as a source of high quality talent production and games. So you guys, I feel so inspired. I'm so happy to see that this type of recognition is finally being shown in the African video game development market. And I encourage you to check out the links from today's features. Go check out those articles that I shared and learn more about the development studios that are mentioned in the articles. And as I said, it's only going to go up from here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to switch over to the game now.